appearances had to be maintained. When he recovered, he would certainly take his seat in his appointed place at the front of the church. He'd learned the value of setting a good example, first from his father, and then from the army. If he recovered. Robert set his teeth and stood up again, his attention fixed on the large bay windows. 3 more lurching steps brought him up against a small desk that creaked rather ominously when he rested his weight against it. His chest was heaving as if he'd run a race, and his heart pounded so loudly he could hear it over the ticking of the clock. A shadow flickered over the full moon, and Robert saw the soaring outline of one of the owls. He transferred his gaze to the heavy silk-embroidered curtains. If he leaned forward, could he at least draw one of them closed? He reached out his hand, overbalanced, and had to rock back on his heels, sending an excruciating stab of pain up his left leg. The desk swayed along with him on its equally spindly legs. He propped himself up against the wall to regroup. Sweat ran down his face and his vision blurred. He focused on the reassuring bulk of the church until his breathing steadied. He could do this. He had to do this. The ability to close his own damned curtains was a symbol of all his frustrations over the past few months. There was another chair close to the center of the 2 windows. If he could just reach that, he would achieve his aim. He stumbled forward and clutched at the back of the dainty chair, half bent over it. As he straightened, his attention was caught by another shadow flitting across the park below. He frowned. Not flitting. Whatever was out there was moving rather slowly, as if overburdened. Robert squinted and realized he wasn't looking at an animal, but at a person carrying something heavy, either in his arms or over his shoulder. The unknown being continued toward the church, his shadow thrown up against the old flint wall into gigantic proportions. "What the devil is going on?" Robert wondered aloud as he craned his neck to get a better look. The chair tipped, and he fell, his hands grabbing uselessly for purchase. Like a wounded animal, he turned so that his right side hit the floor first and absorbed the sudden impact that made him want to puke up his guts. He came to rest on his back, staring up at the white stucco ceiling. Considering the noise he'd made, he expected half his household to come tearing into his bedroom. All remained quiet, apart from the derisive hooting of the owls. Robert wanted to laugh. He'd reached his goal, but he still hadn't managed to draw the curtains, and he was destined for an incredibly uncomfortable night on the floor. So much for the gallant Major. He threw his forearm over his eyes and pressed hard. He hadn't cried since he was 7 and been sent away to boarding school. Dignity be damned, he'd crawl back to bed. "Now don't forget to visit Major Kurland today, Lucy." Lucy Harrington glanced at her father as he sat serenely drinking tea and eating boiled ham at the head of the table. Breakfast at the rectory was always a noisy affair, and this fine spring morning was no exception. Anna and Anthony were arguing about the weather, and the twins were throwing crusts of bread at each other. Sunlight gleamed through the bow windows, glancing off the silver coffee-pot and the blonde hair of the rector's 2 youngest children. Not that anything could make the twins look angelic. Before she could frame an appropriate answer, she coaxed the dripping honey-covered spoon from young Michael's fierce grip and endeavored to wipe his sticky face. "Did you hear me, Lucy?" "Yes, Papa, I did." She patted her youngest brother on the head and poured him some more milk. "Are you not able to attend the Major yourself?" He frowned at her over the top of his spectacles. "I have to go to the horse fair at Saffron Walden. I need a new hunter." Of course, her father's passion for horseflesh would always trump his other duties. Lucy nodded at the twins, and they hurriedly got down from the table and disappeared through the door. Moments later, Lucy